Delco. What is Delco? Urban Dictionary, maybe the best definition of any place in the history of any place. Delco is the nickname for Delaware County. Not just a place to live, it's a way of life. Delco isn't something you obtain with a short visit while you're passing through. Never has been, or don't actually live here, you just won't understand. Delco is something you can spot across the bar while out of town. Speaking of bars, there's 42-to-1 ratio when it comes to bars to libraries. Delco people love being from Delco. I don't know if there's anything special from Delco, except being a Delco guy, I kind of like it.
What is up, Delaware County? Welcome back for episode 113 of Delco Baseball Now. He's Ben Thorpe. I'm Brendan Ricciardi. Welcome in for another great week. Of course, we were off last week for Easter, so we got a little catching up to do. Ben, first and foremost, how about those Philadelphia Flyers?
Dude, the odds of us not ending in excruciating pain are still not zero. So when there is pain to be felt, the Flyers will make sure we feel that pain.
This is true.
But they look great. They look great. This is like the city's alive. So I'm keeping my usual pessimism regarding them, but it's like, it's cool. I went into, I got like food and conchi last night and was like talking to someone about the Flyers and they knew what the hell I was talking about. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah. The last 6 years, nobody's cared. So hopefully,
God, yeah.
Listen, I don't care if they get swept in the playoffs. Just make it. They haven't made it since COVID, So
there hasn't been like, that was the Martone goal against Boston felt like the first big hockey moment they've had.
And it's crazy. I was watching him.
8 years, probably more than that, maybe.
Crazy. I was watching him. We were watching him play at Beaver Stadium.
Watch him work Penn State.
But all right. Before we get into some of the content from this week, our first Dollar Dog Day was a good success. Shout out to everyone who came out to Newman.
Shout out Newman.
We'll have a couple going. Obviously, next week will be Bonner and Malvern, a couple Ridley and Interboro the following week. Kind of still going to O'Hara potentially the week after, as long as we can get everything good for that. So I'm looking forward to continuing that. And shout out Bernie's Pretzels, getting us hooked up. We sold all 100 pretzels.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out Steve Tyson, former Upper Darby Blue Sock and Garnet Valley guy, for helping us out getting those. So appreciate everyone that came out. Great weather. Fingers crossed we can keep that going throughout the rest of the Saturdays for the week. But I thought it was a lot of fun. Shout out Ben's dad for hopping on the grill.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, there's just expert at the grill. There is no other words to describe it.
Great team effort. My dad brought the pretzels. He sent me a picture. Also, shout out Penncrest Baseball washed his car on the way.
Really? Yes.
Yeah. On the way. I think it was at a Sunoco on 252 maybe. But shout out the boys. And yeah, he sent me a picture of like the pretzels in his front seat. He's like, do you know how hard it is not to be eating one of these? They were like steaming up the car.
To be fair, he probably could have had one.
Yeah, he could have. I'm like, hey, 99, it is what it is.
Take it off the company account.
Before we dive into the action, let's get a quick words from our friends over at the Substitute Teacher Service.
If you love working with kids and making a difference, then Substitute Teaching is the perfect job for you. Substitute Teacher Service is hiring teachers in your area year-round for all positions and levels. A teaching degree is not required. We provide you with all necessary certification and even help you to work towards a full-time teaching position. Great benefits, flexible schedule, a rewarding career. The Subservice is hiring right now in your area. Learn more and apply today at thesubservice.com.
All right, thank you to SCS for being a great sponsor for us. As always, let's dive into the action. Got to start with the game of the week. I didn't really think that Jimmy Boyle from Haverford could top what he did in last year's game of the week against Radnor. Somehow he was even better. He had 15 strikeouts in that game last year in a 4-1 win. This year, 8 shutout innings, just 1 hit allowed, 16 strikeouts. Just a ridiculous performance. Just the 1 hit, I believe, was a Blake Fine double in the 6th. He was fantastic. I think he was perfect through the first 5 innings as well. That game went to extras at 0-0. Rocco Kelleher's RBI single gave Haverford the lead. They got another RBI from Gavin Anderson to get the insurance run. Just a ridiculous performance. Now, so we were sitting down, Dave and I were sitting down the first baseline, so it could be a bit tough to see like exactly what he was throwing at all times. I know most of the time he's like a fastball slider guy. Whatever he was throwing, Radder was not picking it up. He was awesome. And just a really, really good win for Haverford on the road. And I don't know. I mean, it's just I've seen Boyle has now started 4 game of the weeks, going back to the first year they kind of started to get this thing turned around against Strathaven, and then last year against Radnor, this year against Garnet Valley a couple weeks ago, and now this one. So he's big Delco Baseball Now game of the week guy.
Yeah, that's. I mean, he's shown up when the lights are brightest. I mean, he's kind of just shown up for them since he started pitching. Realistically, I don't have what his career numbers are, but it's a lot of wins, a little losses, and just a ton of strikeouts. I mean, he looked good. I was able to catch a little bit of the game on the live stream at the end, and his slider with the shadows that were at Radnor is just lethal.
Yeah. I mean, I said on the broadcast, righties, it's a death wish because you either think it's going to hit you and it goes right down the middle, or you think it's going to be down the middle and it's very, very outside. But yeah, career numbers wise, I mean, I don't think his ERA has been over 2 in any individual season, so I can't imagine it's it's got to be something in the ones, I would guess. Couple takeaways from this game here, I think. Also, since we didn't get to record last week, got to give our best wishes to Cam McCormick, Haverford first baseman's out for the year, pit recruit. We'll get him back next year. He's only a junior this year. Just a real bummer. He was really the thump in the middle of their order. First team All Delco for us as a sophomore last year. It's a bummer. Wishing Cam the best. Hopefully he can get out. I think Coach Miller said it was a couple months, so maybe like fall travel season he could hopefully be, back up and running. But yeah, it's a real bummer. And the Haverford offense, they're definitely talented enough to get by, but just, losing arguably your best hitter is definitely a brutal blow.
Yeah, that is that one's going to hurt. I mean, they have some pretty good arms, and they're a pretty young lineup, or maybe not young, but inexperienced, because I know there's a lot of new names for them this year. So you just got to hope that as those guys get more up to speed with varsity baseball, they'll start to make up some of that lost production. But yeah, I mean, best wishes to him. It sucks for a guy in his position to miss a lot of time, because realistically you only have so much of it.
Mm-hmm. For sure. A couple other takeaways. I thought Blake Havertine was outstanding in this game. He threw 5 innings. He didn't allow a hit either. This game was hitless until the 6th. He had 9 strikeouts. Caden Shahulski ends up taking the loss out of the bullpen, but I thought he looked really good too. He's going to be their guy next year. Villanova recruit, still just a junior this year, so he'll be their guy next year. But someone had to score, right? I mean, yeah. Every pitcher in this game I thought looked good. I thought Caden, and I said it on the broadcast at some point, like he would throw a slider in any count, and really it almost felt like when he needed to throw a strike, that was his go-to pitch over the fastball. So we're not sure if we'll see Daniel Kells pitching if and when, but if he doesn't, I think that Shahulski looked as good as any number 3 in Delco.
Yeah, mean, yeah, absolutely. I can't really think of many number 3s in general. I guess St. Joe's Prep their guy might be a D1 recruit, but but
even their guy, one throwing 100, he hasn't pitched yet this year either.
Yeah, so it's I mean, number 3 being a Villanova recruit's pretty impressive, especially when you got a guy like Havertine who's, knock on wood, going to take the game whenever he pitches. Like it's, you have his brother Blake and Caden to split whatever's left it's a pretty good spot to be in.
Yeah, and for Blake's sake, like obviously Austin, he was our player of the year last year. Blake didn't get, I think he had either single digits or like low teens to kind of start making a name for himself here. He's going to F&M. He's a great pitcher. Just last year he was kind of buried, and this year he's 14 innings, 0 earned runs. He's been outstanding, and I think that for a Radnor offense that, let's be honest, has struggled and just has really not been anywhere close to like what even last year. Their offense wasn't elite last year, but it was good, I think. And this year it just has really struggled. And having Blake and Caden emerge is going to keep them in a lot of games, because they're a team where I don't think they have the offensive firepower to win the Central League, but I don't think anyone in districts wants to play them.
No. I mean, you don't want to see those arms in general, because it's going to be a 2-1 game, and it is really easy to lose those.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, that's all we got from this game here. Just wrapping up the week, Haverford took down Ridley. That was actually an interesting game because they were up 3-0. Then Ridley scored a couple late to tie it. Then Haverford ended up winning that one late. Radnor took down Penncrest in the day before. It was funny. Obviously we were hoping to get the Austin Havertine Jimmy Boyle matchup. Obviously Blake did great, and we got the pitching duel we were looking for. But Austin pitched against Penncrest the day before, and Radnor won that one, I believe 7-3. So just wrapping up those weeks right there. Let's keep moving around the Central League here, Ben. 6 straight wins for those Springfield Cougars, and it's even crazier after an 0-3 start to the year. We'll start on Tuesday. They beat Harriton. Drew Krause threw 4 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, and 5 Ks. Nolan Dulski, 3 innings pitched, no hits, no earned runs, 3 Ks. And then they took down Stoga, which was an awesome win, 6-2. I think that was at home as well. Denny Monastra, 4 1/3, 1 earned run. 4 Ks. Jack Ray, 2 2/3, 1 earned run and 4 Ks. Ben, they were 3-13 in the Central League last year. They're already 4-2 this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an incredible turnaround, and those guys have just done a great job being able to kind of get back in, compete. The pitching staff they've kind of gone by committee, and it's worked phenomenally so far. And it's cool to see. Like, it's been a few years of like kind of not ever getting to mention those guys or shout anyone out. So it's very cool to be able to kind of witness and
I mean, this is the best team they've had in the DBN era, at least.
Yeah, for sure. That is. I know our first year they were pretty talented, but just things didn't always bounce their way. But yeah, they're performing great. They got big one against Haverford on Wednesday,
Correct.
I think.
Yeah. So they will play Upper Darby on Monday, and then they're probably going to face Jimmy Boyle on Wednesday because he pitched Wednesday against Radnor. So you'd think that's probably when you would see him next. So that's going to be a great test for them.
Absolutely.
Some people, not me, some people are saying your presence in the organization has caused this resurgence. Do you have a comment?
It's definitely not that at all. The guys. Coach Francis, Smitty, the guys, Coach Gay, the guys at the varsity level have done a great job. Even there from the off season, even from going from the off season with winter workouts and everything, you can see the energy's lifted a lot around there this year, and they've been doing great. It's pretty cool. I just kind of come in there and coach the freshmen and watch what they do, and it's been really cool to see.
So if they're good in 3 years again, then you can say that you had a.
Not even really, because like there's like 6 or 7, actually, like not to do the meme, like there's 6 or 7 freshmen that are up on varsity and JV, right? They're just so talented.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah.
And it's going to be, I think, like as good as it is, like better days are ahead for them, even considering how well it's going right now.
Yeah, and it seems like you kind of touched upon it a little bit. They're doing a really good job at keeping hitters off balance where they're not really letting guys get through maybe sometimes a third time, but like it doesn't seem like their pitchers are going more than 4 or 5 innings. Like they're keeping you off balance. And I know that's something that they kind of installed last year, but their guys all these pitchers are back, so they now have that experience from last year. And it seems like whether it be Krause, Dulski, Monastra, Ray, whatever combination of guys they're throwing out there, they're kind of picking and choosing when to do it, and it's been working so far.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a lot of credit to the guys going in. They've just been able to handle any kind of situation. They're all very good pitchers, like just in the sense of being able to throw strikes, throw lots of pitches, 4 strikes, and it's really shown this year.
Yeah, and their offense, again, like I don't think anyone's going to scream that they're elite, but I think they've been above average. I think they've been good. Nick Corse had a crazy week last week. Jake Lennon, usually batting leadoff, I think, is at the top of the order. Jay Valetti, it feels like, has an extra base hit every recap that I do. Danny Meekum's been doing well. Like they have what seems to be a good enough offense that they're in a lot of these games where they're winning by like 3 or 4 runs. Like they're not usually blowing teams out, but a lot of their wins are comfortable.
Yeah, no, it's been timely hitting and just really good pitching and defense, and they'll get you those like 6-2 kind of wins in that area, in that range.
If they're able to go out and beat Jimmy Boyle and Haverford on Wednesday, that would be. That'll set off some alarm bells at the headquarters for us. Yeah. That's gonna be a good test for them. I think like win or lose, it's gonna be good to go up against what we have as the top team in the county. I think a lot of people would consider the top team in the county and just see where you stand. Yep. All right, let's move on to another team that has really just turned things around from last year. That's Penncrest. As we kind of touched upon, they lost to Austin Havertine on Tuesday in Radnor. That happens to most teams, so really
he'll do that.
Yeah. But they showed some guts. They had another comeback, as Haverford did against Ridley. They were down 2-0 pretty much all game, and they scored 3 in the bottom of the 6th to rally and win it. Henry Murphy had 2 hits. Andrew Luber-Solich and Jeremy Schneider both, I believe they had 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th and scored all 3 of their runs. And those guys both drove in runs. They've been doing a lot of what Springfield's doing in the sense of guys are kind of splitting up the games. Colton Bush has kind of emerged as a guy they trust a lot. 4 innings, 2 unearned runs and 6 Ks. And then Henry Murphy, who we've seen pitch the last couple of years, 3 shutout innings and 4 Ks. Another team, Ben, 4-12 in the Central League last year, 4-2 this year. And you think that, guys like Sergio Hernandez coming in from Bonner, like a program that has been winning for, the last 2 decades, right? Like it feels like just coming into a Penncrest team that hasn't had that much, at least, that's a tough word, sustained success. That was a tough one. Sustained success.
Yeah, that's a...
Penncrest, they have like their individual good seasons, like Gavin Brown's year a couple years ago and whatnot, but it feels like they're kind of buying into Austin Morgan's philosophy. Not that they didn't last year, but it kind of takes a little bit sometimes to get going. And this seems like a pretty well-rounded team. They seem like another team that honestly I keep comparing them to Springfield just in the way they do things. Their records are very similar, their resumes are similar. I feel like they split the games pitching wise similar. They're not really like dominating teams. Obviously, Penncrest beat up Strathaven. I guess that was probably 2 weeks ago. But overall, I feel like these guys are going to be kind of neck and neck throughout the whole year, and probably at this rate, looks like that they're going to be in similar spots. Give me a Penncrest Springfield 8-9 game in the district playoffs.
That would be. I mean, for you, like that's going to feed families. For I guess me with like someone of a dog in the fight, that's going to be
If we got paid by the comment, if we got paid by the comment, my kids wouldn't worry about tuition. That's for sure.
You'd be retiring at this point.
Yeah, right.
And maybe me.
I just think that it's cool to see. And look, obviously the Strathaven alum and me. Do I want them to be good? Yes. Am I losing sleep? Not really. But like, it's cool seeing teams that haven't consistently been good. Like, I still have nightmares about Springfield because those teams, 16, 17, they were really good. I forget if 18 was a good year for them as well because I was gone.
I don't think so.
But yeah, those teams, I just saw my guy Mike Smith today. From those eras were great, and it's fun. The bubble this year is going to be very packed, and it's going to be the Delco teams because I feel like Penncrest, Springfield, and Marple, maybe Haven if they can clean it up a bit. Like they're all going to be kind of fighting around there. And 6-10 got Marple in last year.
Yeah, I mean I don't know if I'm ever going to bank on 6-10 getting somewhere. I feel like that is like an aberration as opposed to
it's a good word.
Aberration.
Yeah, I think it works. I mean, double word, but
I think I was right. I think it's like aberration to the norm. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of that with 6-10. Yeah. But it's
here we go.
I'd say.
Okay, here we go. It strays from the normal, typical, or moral standard. I think
there we are. I did not mean it morally. I want all of our teams to do well. That's a moral victory for all of us.
Yeah.
But no, that's definitely a little bit. The 6-10 would be a little different, but 8's going to get you in. 7's going to put you right on that bubble. I mean it's going to be pretty crazy going down the stretch for us, just with all these teams that kind of built the same way, doing the same stuff in the same division.
They play each other twice.
Yeah, we're looking strictly at 5A with this. I think 6A kind of has sorted itself out a little bit. Like I think there's a pretty clear pecking order up there. 5A, it's just I don't know. I mean, it's part of my language, but a clusterfuck a little bit. Like it's.
Hey, we're on YouTube. We're not on the.
Yeah.
All right, let's move in here. We'll do our last of the 5A teams here. I have a bit out of order on the sheet, but since we were talking about Marple, they're kind of a team that's been really just going up and down. I mean, they lose to Strathaven 4-1 on Tuesday, 1-3 in the Central League, and you're like, this is good. Then they go out and beat Lower Merion 2-1, right? They get 6 innings, 1 earned run, and 6 Ks from Kevin Wygo. Don't have Marple stats handy. I think he's either a first or second team All Delco guy.
Yeah.
every start he's just going deep into all these games too.
Yeah, it seems to be. You were talking about them being up and down. It seems like when he's on the mound, they're up. When he's not on the mound, they're down. And that it sucks a little bit because I think they kind of had a somewhat similar situation with Jack Mahalik last year, where he was, when he was going, they were going. When he wasn't, I know Kevin Wygo stepped in and pitched pretty well, but there are definitely some question marks. So I think it's a little bit more of the same for them right now.
Aiden Liberty's walk-off double in the bottom of the seventh won that game for Marple. Again, if they lost that game, you're looking at 1-4 in the Central League. You're digging a real big hole. 2-3 now, right back in the mix. They also got to play at the Blue Rock Stadium. They played. I'm probably going to butcher the name. Apoquinimic, I believe, is the name. I had to quadruple check that I spell. It's Appoquinimink. Ridiculous.
Yes, that's
ridiculous name. But they won at the Blue Rock Stadium 5-4. All the pitchers, they only allowed one total hit. Carter Patterson, Chase McGee, Joey Dwyer, Nick Lincoln, Aiden Carney combined for just one hit allowed. I think they had a couple errors, so it was a 5-4 game.
That'll play.
I think they were up 5-0. Apoquinimink kind of crept back, but they ended up closing it out. Feels like maybe once or twice a year we get a team to play at the Blue Rock Stadium. I remember Bonner doing it within the last 2 or 3 years.
Well, Bonner played the same team, I think.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I won't even attempt the name, but I think they played them. That was a Kevin McGonigal year.
I think one of his 2 years there.
Yeah, shot the boy, just his first home run, I think.
He did, yeah, he did.
Yeah, it was today. Was that today?
That was his first home run today. And so it was funny. I was actually on first base in our game today, and I hear someone say it from the dugout.
Oh,
my phone was being used for Game Changer.
Oh,
because I was DH. So when I came back in, I'm like, fellas, I'm gonna need this real quick because I need this video out. I've been waiting two or 3 weeks, to get this out. So I was simultaneously tracking pitches on Game Changer while clipping the video. I'm like,
that's sick. That's real. That's the real grit you don't see. It's at your men's league baseball game. Got to clip the.
And it reminds me of one of the 2 games I actually got in for Wayne during the Media Little League run.
Yeah.
I was trying to live tweet from the bench, or from the dugout, and I actually got called into play because someone got hurt. I'm like, really? The one time I'm going to play?
Yeah, it's the one time I don't want to play, you need me to play.
Yeah.
That's always how it works, though.
But yeah, congrats to Kevin. That was a bomb, too, off Sandy Alcantara. He knew it. Everybody knew it. It's a big stadium there. It didn't look like it on that swing. So congrats to Kevin. Congrats to my fantasy team too, because I have him in my rookie of the year bet. But it's
all coming together.
He seems like he's just doing he's done at every level, right? Just continue to hit. There's going to be ups and downs, but just continue to produce. I think he's still hitting around 300 right now. Last time, I 290s or something. But good stuff.
Yeah, the hit tool just shines through every time.
And if he can give him 15 homers a year, you're talking about a legit,
15 in Comerica's 30 in Yankee Stadium, legitimately.
Yeah. All right, let's move into the 6A here. We talked a little. Lower Merion did fall to Marple Newtown, but they beat Garnet Valley before that. Peyton Spiegler drove in 3 runs. Nick Draggett had 2 hits. Talk about another twin brother combo here. Justin Heck goes the distance. 7 innings, 1 earned run, 3 Ks. Also drove in a run. And this is, again, another game where had they lost, they would have been 1-3 in the Central League, but they took care of business against Garnet Valley. Also beat Upper Darby later in the week as well to get them back to, I believe, now 3-3 in the Central League. And they're a team that, again, I wouldn't bet on anyone but Haverford to win the league now that they have 2 games in hand with Boyle and Rothstein pitching every other day. But I think that Lower Merion is probably going to find themselves in the playoffs at the very least in 6A. And with the Brian and Justin Heck combo, I like their chances a lot. But this was a win where, again, if they had lost that game to Garnet, we'd be talking about a 2-4. We probably wouldn't even be talking about them during the Central League portion of the program here. But yeah, that win 5-2 over Garnet Valley was it had to just be a nice confidence boost. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably their first big time win. I know they've kind of beaten the teams they should beat and lost to the teams that they shouldn't. Lost to the teams that you would think they would.
Or they could.
Could's a good. That's a good way to put it. But yeah, no, definitely a huge confidence booster. I agree with you. Having both of the Heck brothers going into any sort of playoff, and I would be shocked if they didn't make the playoffs. But having the Heck brothers going into any sort of playoff scenario is a good place to be. I mean, they're two very strong arms, close to as strong as we have out here.
I mean, last year they ran into Keller Bradley, who is the best pitcher in Pennsylvania I've personally covered. I mean,
he's still around. So you got
Pennsbury's my
cross
current,
your fingers and hope you don't see him.
Yeah, they're my current pick because I run the Pennsylvania Coaches Association.
Oh, so are you the one doing those power rankings too?
It's like I'm not the only one involved, but I'm
okay.
So like I'm not the only one who has a say in it, but I think Pennsbury was 3 or 4. St. Joe's Prep was in there for 6A.
Yeah.
We have like a panel of writers from around the state because like I don't know anything about teams in District 9, 8, whatever.
7. Like once you get out to Pittsburgh, it's like
So like we have someone in the Pittsburgh area, someone in Central PA, just kind of everybody kind of combined to make them. So it's cool. But all right, let's move in. The last Central League team we'll talk about here is Garnet Valley, as we mentioned, lost to Lower Merion, but they Strathaven 11-0 to kind of make up for that loss. Dylan Orr, 5 shutout innings, 6 strikeouts. Connor Criswell closed it out. Zach Gordon and Brandon Capone both had 3 hits. Capone drove in 4 runs, and Zach Gordon drove in 2. I truly believe that this is the second best team in the conference overall. I think that they're the second most well-rounded team, just because until we see a little bit more from Radnor's offense, I know their pitching's great, but like you can't just put yourself in all of these, one hit is going to shift things either way. Like I think in the playoffs that they could, have a nice run, Radnor, but I just think Garnet Valley, just the way that the lower half of their order has been hitting to go along with the top of the order. And I think that Dylan Orr is a big key because, we trust Ryan McGee when he goes out there. It's not a guaranteed win, but like you're going to get a quality start 99% of the time. And if Dylan Orr looked as good as he did in this game against Strathaven, then I think that they're going to be in a very good spot to be. It's hard to get a first round bye. I would say at least a home game in 6A.
Yeah, home game, and I think Dylan Orr is a guy. And assuming that they would throw McGee in a first round matchup, which I would be surprised if they did. I think Dylan Orr is a guy where you can put him out there and hey, we got a shot. Like you're gonna see something good from one of the teams that get a bye, because you always do. But he's a guy that's going to give you a shot. He's going to give you a shot on the off days for Ryan McGee going forward in the season. I agree with you that they're probably the second best team. I think the lineup's as good as you're gonna find. I'm sorry, I lost it. But I think the lineup's as good as you're gonna find.
I think Cole Mardo is, if not the favorite to win Offensive Player of the Year right now, he's up there.
Yeah, me certainly, yeah.
But that's wrapping up the Central League right now. So Haverford's first at 6-0. Springfield and Penncrest are both 4-2. A couple teams like Garnet and Radnor are 3-2, just because they haven't, that Radnor game still hasn't finished with Strathaven.
Yeah, when do they ever schedule is that going to be the next time they play?
Correct. That's what they're doing. Yeah. Hopefully they can get that one in. But all right, let's move on to the Catholic League here. Let's talk some O'Hara, and because O'Hara and Carroll was a big game, and that was like both teams. I think at the time had the same record. If not, it was close. O'Hara won that one 5-2. Jack Quinn complete game, 7 innings pitched, just 3 hits allowed, 1 earned run, and 7 Ks. We talked a lot about guys that were on the Media Little League team the year they went to Williamsport. What people don't talk about as much is that Aston Middletown team they beat had won the state and the region each of the last 2 years. So there's a couple guys that we're now seeing that were on that Aston team. One of those being Joey Thompson, who's batting leadoff as a freshman for O'Hara. Wow. Had 2 doubles and drove in a run in that game. I've seen, I think, a couple, but definitely more of the media guys. Like, Varsity's a freshman, hard to do regardless. But Joey Thompson was on that Aston team, and now he's making an impact. And a lot of young bats, man. Vinny Mancini had 2 hits in this game. He's a sophomore. Colin Thomas was a guy that kept coming up in that preseason interview podcast we did with them. He drove in 2 runs. Connor Clark had 2 hits. This team, they ended up losing to Judge later in the week, but I still think that with the pitching staff that they have and just seeing the strides the young guys are making on offense, I think this team is in a solid spot. I think they're going to probably – the goal for them, I think, is to just avoid the play-in game. So now you can play – whoever you're going to play, in the first round. You won't play a team that got a bye, but if you are able to get to not have to use your ace, which it's presumably Jack Quinn, in that play-in round and have him start in the first game, then you have a chance to do some damage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely an encouraging start to the season for O'Hara. Lost Brendan Till, who's kind of played a massive role in their offense. Lost Jack Coleman to Bonner, and having those younger guys be able to step in, gives you confidence for this year and probably makes you feel really good about the years going forward, because it's always just a war in the PCL, especially around here with three or four schools trying to grab talent out of the area.
Yeah. O'Hara will have I forget who they play on Monday. I'll pull that up real quick. I know they play Bonner on Wednesday, so I'll double check who they play on Monday. I think it's someone solid. Let's see. They play at Devon on Monday. So if they can win, I think for Bonner or for O'Hara, obviously your goal is to win all the games. But I think if you split the Devon and Bonner games, you're probably overall pretty content.
You're happy with that, yeah.
You're 3-2 in the PCL right now. But man, and we'll talk about Bonner coming up here. If there's any year to beat him, it seems like right now is the time to get him.
Mm-hmm. They're definitely struggling a little bit. I know it's a very talented team, but definitely not playing their best baseball. So for a team like O'Hara, where they haven't beaten the past few years, like this is, I feel like they're going to be up for that game. The Bonner players are going to be up because it's Bonner O'Hara, and it's going to be very exciting.
So I wonder if Bonner could bring out the throwbacks for this game, the vests. I don't know if they've worn them yet. I haven't seen. I feel like I would have seen pictures.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen them.
Well, I will say this: if Bonner did not beat Radnor 8-1 on Saturday, the tone of this would be a lot different. Like that, I think that helped kind of like the sky is falling, a little bit. But they lost to LaSalle 11-5 on Tuesday. I would hope that this next game was rock bottom. They lost 15-0 to Ghost, who will be in the PCL next year. It's not yet. That was a 3-inning game on Wednesday, and that's one of those. Like, where do we go from here, right? It's as simple as the pitching's just been not good enough. They have a team ERA of 6.65 right now, and that's you can't even just pin it on one person. The team as a whole just hasn't been good enough, and I feel like at times last year, like when their pitching struggled, they could out hit it, but they haven't really hit yet as a group. Like Gavin Dorita he's 12 for 18 on this year. In the year, and the team as a whole has 40 hits.
Yeah.
So he has almost a third of the team's hits. So I do believe that this offense is way too talented to not, get rolling. I'm a little concerned about the pitching in that regard.
Yeah, it's it definitely is a little bit. And offensively, I think you lost two really good table setters, and Sergio Hernandez going over to Penncrest, and then Michael Coleman obviously going off to college. Those guys they seemed like they were on base all the time for the middle of the order, who's still there, I would say, in large part. It's just tough, to find other guys to be able to do that. The pitching, same thing. You lost a lot of experience, and now you're giving the ball to guys who, Danny Buckton's got some time, but after that, you're giving the ball to guys who haven't thrown a ton for you.
Yeah,
and it's just tough.
Even at Marple, like Jake Gorman, it seemed like mostly reliever. We kind of saw him in that role, so starting seems to be a little different. Jack Coleman, I don't think pitched too much at O'Hara, like more just kind of.
I don't know that he threw a little bit for
innings, I think, like not a crazy amount. But Ryan Friel, nice game against Radnor, 2 for 3 RBI. Owen Lockhart through 4 scoreless innings, 1 hit, 8 strikeouts. So maybe he's somebody, one unearned run. Maybe he's somebody that we could see start some Catholic League games. But it is worth noting that, while they are 2-5, they have lost to some very good teams. They lost to Prep, LaSalle, Wood, Germantown Academy, Ghost. Like, this is a big week coming up for them. It's not like all of these games they're losing are teams that they should be steamrolling. Like, they're playing good teams. And this week, if they beat Roman on Monday and O'Hara on Wednesday, we're talking about a team that's now 3-3 in the PCL. And if you remember last year, they started pretty slow, out of the game. Out. So
the thing with the PCL, again, it's get in and see, roll the dice and see, because they were in as a 6th seed last year.
I believe they were 6
and ran the table. So it's, I think if anyone knows what can happen as soon as you get in, like it's them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I don't think that they're treating it like the sky is falling, like season over. I think for them it's just like we know we're better than this, but now it's just kind of trying to find the right pieces. So yeah, excited for the Bonner and O'Hara game. But let's move into the Interac here. Usually we start with the Delco teams. I want to start with Malvern Prep for one reason. Have you seen any of this Mid-Atlantic challenge that they're doing?
Like bits and pieces, yeah. I saw they finished third.
So what was that?
I saw they finished third, right?
Yes. Basically, the gist of it is that 8 teams from, it looks like, I'll pull up Coach Hilliard sent me the bracket because I was kind of asking him about it. There were 8 teams all coming from New Jersey, New York, and PA. So there's Don Bosco, which is Jersey, Del Barton, Jersey, Seton Hall Prep is Jersey, Poly Prep is New York, Iona Prep is New York, Gloucester and St. Augustine are New Jersey. So they were the only PA team that was invited. I think they're all private schools.
No PA love at all.
I guess not.
I mean, they are. Yeah. If you're going to pick someone from PA, it's going to be them.
Yeah. They beat Iona Prep in the first round before falling to Gloucester Catholic, and I believe they played today against.
They won like 12-5. I saw that.
Yeah, they played, which I guess is the third place game.
Yeah.
I actually did not know that was happening, so I will not be. I saw it on Game Changer when I was looking earlier for our MSBL game. So they played Poly Prep, which was, I think, where that guy Miguel Syme, that pitcher, went. Yeah. And I wonder if. I know they have a couple guys that threw at that Ascent Showcase. They were throwing mid-90s, but again, it's like you need your guys for the conference games, so you're not always going to get the the best arms in that for that reason. But they end up coming in third place, which is cool. I think a lot of the games, I think Malvern hosted their first game, but the rest were in Jersey just because more teams are from there. I think it's a cool idea. I think it's hard to pull off during the season because, again, you have so many arms that need to be throwing conference games as well, but I think it's cool.
I mean, it really only works, at least for PA teams, it would really only work with an Interact team or like someone in the PESA.
Correct, yeah, bigger rosters and whatnot, but for Malvern Preps week, they beat Germantown Academy on Tuesday. Jack Irvine threw 6 innings with 1 earned run. Brady Abate, he just has some monster games. 3 for 4 homer, 5 RBIs. I think he had a 7 RBI game earlier in the season. Stephen Postek solo homer. Jalen Bowman 3 for 4. I mean, when your 9 hitter is going yard, that just shows the depth of this Malvern order. When your 9 hitter is going to Westchester in alone, you have a great team. I think Germantown was actually up 2-0 for a little bit, but Malvern can score in bunches, as they did in this Haverford School game, where it was 1-0 going into the bottom of the 5th before Malvern scored 8 runs off the Haverford bullpen to blow it open. That ended up being a 12-2 Malvern win. Colin Romanzik had 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 7 Ks. Gabe Denisi was really good for Haverford. 4 innings, 1 earned run, and 4 Ks. Grady Forsberg had 2 hits. Luke Moore also homered for Malvern in that win. So 2-0 start for Malvern in the Interac. And look, if recent history, is going to repeat itself, they're in first place by themselves, and people might not catch them.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, they just started up, so you never know what can happen, especially when you see teams for a second time. But yeah, I mean, it's looking like business as usual for them a little bit. Like just start up, maybe you drop 1 at some point during the season, but go on, win the Interact, win PESA. Yeah. kind of same old same. That's a standard for them at this point, and it seems like this is not. We'll throw it back out again. This is not an aberration.
Yeah, there we go. Big We'll post something on Instagram and be like, Delco Baseball no.
Word of the day.
Well, I was going to say, how sometimes it'd be like, a recap of a show, no context, and images where you didn't watch, you'd be like, what do you... So,
I like that.
Delco Baseball now, no context episode, just the definition of...
that can be our thumbnail.
Yeah, right. What is an aberration? The Haverford School, of course, they lost to Malvern. Most teams do. But they did beat Springside Chestnut Hill 10-3. Sophomore Owen Murphy was great. 8 strikeouts over 5 innings, just 1 hit, 2 earned runs. Gabe Denisi closed that one out. David Falcone, 2 for 3, a homer, 3 RBIs. I believe a sophomore. I'll double-check that. Braden Scanlon, you might remember Connor Scanlon from the Fords. He went 3 for 3 in that game. It looks like David is a freshman How about that?
All right.
First Interact game going 2 for 3 with a homer.
Sure.
Nicky Bounty had 2 for 4, 2 RBIs. Ethan Stern drove in 2 runs. Great start to the season in the Interact for the Fords, who I want to say in the Interact, I think we're maybe 3-7 last year. Could be 2-8. I think 3-7. But great way for them to start off their Interact season. That was on Tuesday, and Malvern was on Friday. They also beat Germantown Friends 7-1. Zach Lawler continuing a great sophomore year, 3 for 4 with an RBI. Caleb Seaver homered. Jack Nosek struck out 11 over 5 innings with 1 hit. Matt Borden, 2 innings, 1 hit, no earned runs. Again, similar to what we talked about with Penncrest and Springfield, Haverford School was 9-17 last year. They're already 9-4 this year. Awesome turnaround for Jack McCann in year number 2, and that's with Thomas Lawler, who's I would probably argue their best all-around hitter. He's injured, not sure for how long, but he's missed the last couple games. So, he did not play in that Springside game, and the offense kept going. So he's someone that hopefully can get him back for this season. But the pitching as a whole has been pretty good for the Fords.
Yeah, it's been much better, I would say. I know it was a little bit of a soft spot for them last year, and the lineup, which we were worried about a little bit at the beginning of the year, is come along great. I mean, these guys are starting to find it, starting to swing it. It's getting a little warmer outside. The ball's starting to fly a little bit, so I think things are looking really promising for them.
Yep. All right, last Interact team, Episcopal. Now, they did go 0-2 in the Interact this week, but they lost 3-1 to Penn Charter and 2-1 to Germantown, so they're right there. It's not looking like they're totally outmatched. They did rebound. They beat a good Perkiomen team 6-3 on Saturday, a team that wanted some revenge after Episcopal beat them in the pace of semis last year. Owen Pfeiffer went 3 for 4. Michael Schaefer went yard, and that's not a small field for a sophomore.
No, that's a legit.
So it's funny. When Michael he missed all of last year with an injury, but when he got varsity time as an 8th grader, it was as a pitcher. He's pitched and been fine on the mound this year, but he's really impressed with the bat. So definitely someone to keep an eye out for. Still got 2 more years left after this. Spencer Shue drove in 2. Sounds like a Dr. Seuss book right there. Put that on there. Episcopal's bullpen was great. Matt Roberts. We have a new cool name unlocked in the Delco Baseball world. Kipton Williams. Kyptyn.
Of course.
Cool one. And Dan Castro, they combined 4 scoreless innings to get them back in the win column. They're going to play Malvern on Tuesday in the state championship rematch. If they can steal that game, that looks a lot better than going 0-3 to start the Interact. But I think that if you're Episcopal, you're not too concerned, maybe a little bit more on the offensive side. But again, you played 2 close games. You're right there with 2 good teams. So I think that you got to just kind of just keep rolling it out.
Yeah, it's it's tough because like an 0-2 start, especially with how good Malvern's been, kind of feels like, all right, well, the Interact's, probably not going to happen. But it's competitive games, and you just got to keep going out, keep playing them, and hope that with some timely hitting and stuff, like things are going to start going your way. And usually that is what those close games come down to, is just can you get hits in big spots.
For sure. All right, last conference here. Let's talk some Del Val. Now, Chichester, you can say what you want about their competition, but they scored 55 runs across 3 games. We got to talk about what Zach Murray did this week, because he went 7 for 11, 2 home runs, 2 triples, 2 doubles, and he drove in 13 runs across. Jesus. Technically, he actually only drove in the 13 runs in 2 games, because he had, I think, 7 against Academy Park and 6 against Chester. Listen, I don't care who you're playing. If you drive in 13 runs in 2 games, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, that's not easy to do. Yeah. That's a big week from him. Another big week from Chichester. 55 runs in 3 games, insane.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Not only did Zach Murray go 3 for 3 with 7 RBIs, his brother Jeremy went 3 for 3 with 3 RBIs. So how many brother combos can say that they went 6 for 6, 10 RBIs in a game?
Well, certainly not me and my brother. We never did that. I didn't hit, and Cam didn't hit well. So,
well, my brother played soccer. So.
Yeah. We're working on some different combos here.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's incredible. It's got to be cool coming back. Probably like give your younger brother a little bit of shit. Be like, I have more RBIs. But
yeah. The Delco Christian game was actually bizarre. They were up 7-0, and then Delco Christian scored 7 to tie it. And then
What?
I pulled away. Damian Diaz-Badillo had a 3-run homer to end that, not end that game, but to, for some insurance in the 6th. Chichester can pretty much, for all intents and purposes, clinch the Del Val on Thursday when they head to Interboro, because if they win, that's pretty much wraps on the conference.
Yeah, that would be. You go up 2-up on Interboro. I think they've kind of played everyone else. I don't see anyone really posing any sort of a threat. So yeah, you take care of business at Interboro, and you're good. I mean, you're good with that. And then really, it's probably one more competitive game against Interboro again when they play for a 3rd time, and you win that, and you've got the 1 seed locked up, because it's not really like anyone else in the 5A is running the table right now.
No, I don't think. I mean, just looking at 5A right now, every other team has even. Wow, Upper Dublin's 3-5.
Yeah, well, I mean, they lost so many.
I know they lost Dahl, but I don't know. I still figured reigning state champions would be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dahl threw so many of their innings last year. So
I mean, if Chichester runs a table, I don't see how any team would jump them at this rate. Springfield, as of right now, is in a bye.
Let's go.
Yeah,
let's go. Those are words I've never heard. Like generally, even back to did they get a bye? They might have got a bye.
No, because back when we were there, it was 16 teams. Or at least
my God. Yeah.
year.
You're right.
They switched from 4 classes to 6. There wasn't a bye.
You're absolutely right. That's all right. Hey, let's go. That's a little bit uncharted territory, but that's exciting, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, last team in the Del Val here now. Interboro beat Penwood on Tuesday, but the real story is that they took down Strathaven 2-0 on the road. Complete game shutout from Caden Whalen. 7 innings, just 2 hits, 5 strikeouts. Joel Sheridan had an RBI single in that game as well. Look, it's not a secret that these Del Val teams cherish any time that they can both compete and beat a Central League team. You saw it with Chichester in the playoff game versus Strathaven last year. I think Strathaven just might have a Del Val problem.
It's turning into a bit of a curse now.
Yeah, right.
Do they have anyone else this year? They play Chichester?
I don't think they play Chi unless they make the playoffs and they would play them again. I don't think they would play any other 3 teams, so probably not. But
it could be just Del Val's tricky, man. They're tricky.
I know they're going to make you play their game, all these gritty types of games, and for Interboro, I know that's a huge confidence boost. It might not actually mean anything for their playoff sake. They are, as of right now, the 2 seed in 4A. They play Holy Ghost. That's a tough first round draw to play in the 4A bracket for sure. So now, interesting question here. So Holy Ghost is District 1 4A. When they join the PCL, they're going to District 12, right?
Yeah, they go to District 12 because the PCL is District 12. Whatever. Yeah, okay. I don't think they're in a conference right now. So whatever that. They're
curious how they're like. I'll have to look at their schedule because if they're not in a conference, I'm curious how they're like. Do their games only count for playoffs if it's against District 1 teams?
Maybe I have no idea how that works. To be honest, it's really weird. But still, for Interboro, I think it's good to get that win, and it helps you believe a little bit because they were in the same boat as Chichester, and where like you make the playoffs and you face Central League, face someone and lose, and so like I don't know, to see one of those shots fall, it's like all right, hey, but we can do this, and so when you're going up against a Holy Ghost, which is that's a brutal matchup, but you can believe a little bit, and I think Chichester the same way of like sitting in that top seat, like I think they feel. I would assume they feel much differently now than they did, last year or years prior, having gotten that win under their 100%, belt.
100%. Well, I know who David Chapaski's rooting for in a Holy Ghost Interboro.
Unfortunately, yeah.
All right, that wraps up kind of our weekly recap. We got our awards coming up, but first, let's get a quick word from our guy, Charlie Longan Insurance. They provide comprehensive insurance solutions and risk management strategies for businesses, individuals, and families. They go beyond coverage to build lasting relationship with their clients. They offer expert guidance as your needs evolve, helping you protect your assets, safeguard your future, and maintain peace of mind. Now they have high quality insurance for both commercial and personal insurance, and we can testify. We have his general liability insurance. Hopefully our grill doesn't go on fire at a Dollar Dog Day game, but if it does, we burn a school down. That is probably how we're going to not end up in prison with the liability insurance. So you can check Charlie out, Charlie at Longen, LONGENGRP.com, or call him 610-724-9717. Again, whether you have a business or not, he can get you hooked up with insurance. Ben, let's talk our players of the week here. And I got to be honest, with all due respect to everyone else in Delco, this was the easiest by far awards to pick. It wasn't even close. We'll start Jimmy Boyle for Haverford. Again, 8 shutout innings, 1 hit, 16 strikeouts, just 1 walk too. And it felt like when we watch him, he gets better as the game goes on. He struck out, so in the 8th inning, of course they had the 2-0 lead. He struck out the first 2 hitters on 6 pitches. I thought we were getting the immaculate inning.
Yeah, it was. Man, it was looking that way. I think it kind of came on his. Didn't he throw a ball?
It was, yeah, I think it was a ball for the first, last.
Yeah, so it kind of came on his terms anyway.
Yeah.
But like, he's just a dog. Like, there's no other way to describe it.
I'm telling you, dude. If his height started with the 6, he would be playing at the very minimum D1, if not higher.
I mean, he's throwing 90 miles. He's throwing 90 miles an hour with that frame as is. Like,
yeah.
you can. I mean, obviously, like we're projecting a bit, but like you can imagine what that would
Absolutely.
be.
Hey,
But,
look, dude, with the way the portal is these days, man, you go and get innings at Thomas Jefferson as a freshman and carve, you'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I have no reason to believe he won't do that either. Like,
Continue the Haverford pipeline because we'll have Will Hopkins there, Ryan Cassidy's there. Technically, Jack Stadnicki plays for Carroll now, but like he was from Haverford. So keep the pipeline going. But hitter of the week, again, it was not very complicated here. Zach Murray, 13 RBIs, 7 for 11. He had 2 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 home runs. Ben, let's check what that OPS is right now for Zach.
Tie.
Certainly high, I would imagine.
Quick math has it high.
Let's see. I'm going to guess. I mean, let's see. OPS on the year now sitting at 1564.
Yeah, that'll do it.
That'll do. Again, congrats to Zach. I mean, 13 RBIs. Like a lot of players we cover won't have that this whole season.
No, most. Yeah,
like I had a good senior year. I think I had 15 maybe, and it got me enough to be in the Delco Times RBI leaders section. Of course, all those Interact kids play like 20 more games than us. So
yeah, it's a little bit. It's a little unfair.
I had a great year. Brian Highland had like 3 times more RBI.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
hilarious.
If I remember correctly, he was a pretty good player, but also like a lot more games too.
Yeah. All right, that wraps up the players of the week. Let's get into the power rankings, everybody's favorite. But first, a quick word from our friends over at McDevitt Hitting, where they have a wide range of services, whether it be one-on-one instruction, group hitting, age-specific clinics designed to meet players at every stage, whether they're beginners or D1 college athletes trying to work to improve their performance. They expanded their offerings. They have team training programs, which each of the 4 weeks focus on a different aspect of hitting. They have online hitting programs, which have helped over 70 players improve their swing and approach. They offer, now this is new, they offer their patent-pending inflatable batting cage, which Ben and I can attest to is awesome. It's now available for sale. McDevitt has it at his house. Also, Ridley High School has it. For more information, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram at McDevitt Hitting Lessons, and try and check them out for everything, whether it be hitting lessons, clinics, or if you want to buy a cage because it's sick and you can hit in it all year round. All right, let's get into the power rankings here. I actually did not update them on this Google Doc, but I know what they are because I have the graphic here. So we'll start at the top. Haverford, it looks like the way they're humming with Jimmy Boyle and Lucas Rothstein. Also, shout out Lucas's dad, very nice guy. Met us after the game and was just saying how much he appreciates us. So shout out Mr. Rothstein. He said he was watching the game in center field, but had our broadcast up so he could listen. And if there was an instant replay that he needed, he was able to check that out. And so shout out to Mr. Rothstein. Haverford, they're 7-1. They're 6-0 in the conference. Number 2, we got to jump Haverford School. We got it's the year of the Fords right now.
Yeah.
Like Haverford School moves into 2. I really like what I've seen from their pitching. Obviously, Thomas Lawler being out is unfortunate, but they're 9-4 now. They're second. I mean, mathematically, I guess probably the second, if not third, best record in Delco right now. Number 3, we got Garnet Valley, who is staying in the 3 spot. They were 3 last week. They're 5-2 overall, 3-2 in the conference. Again, yes, I know Garnet Valley beat Haverford School head-to-head. That was 13 games ago for the Fords, right? There's a lot happened between then. If we did head-to-head as our end-all be-all, then these rankings would not really exist at all. Moving down a little bit to 4, we have Radnor. They're now 3-4-1, 3-2 in the Central. I think really just need to see a little bit more offense from them to have them in the top 3 teams in Delco. I think those top 3 teams are very well rounded. Number 5, not moving at all, is Episcopal. They're 7-5, 0-2 in the Interact, but again, 2 tight games against really good teams. Springfield jumps 2 spots. They are now in the number 6 spot right now. They are 6-3. I think I had them. 6-3, 4-2 in the Central League. Penncrest at 7. They are 5-4 in the Central League, 4-2 overall. I still believe in the talent that Bonner has. I think it would be silly to not say that they're one of the 9 best teams in Delco, even if they haven't played like it yet so far this year. So they are staying in the 8th spot. And for the first time this year, welcome in Cardinal O'Hara. The combination of the young bats and the veteran pitching, I think, have them as a team that is going to be in a very good spot throughout the season. They come in at the 9 spot. A couple teams in consideration, Lower Merion. I think if they had beat Marple in that game to be, I guess, 5-4 and then 4-2 in the Central League, they would have found their way in. And then Stoga's definitely hanging around there for sure. Marple, again, that if we did 10, we still would have had a tough cutoff. So.
Yeah, it's always a tough cutoff in general.
For sure. I really like what we've seen from Jack Quinn, and I think that the O'Hara pitching staff combined with the young bats has them 3-2 in the PCL, and a lot of these teams are very similar. I think 4-4 overall. So yeah, I think it's O'Hara's turn, and we'll see. Again, big game now with Bonner and O'Hara right on Wednesday.
Yeah, big one. That's going to be. Always is, always will be.
Feels like a nice segue into our game of the week. Last segment here. Who would have thought putting O'Hara and Bonner at 8 and 9 would be, right the perfect decision for the sake of the game of the week. But we will be heading to Bonner, actually technically twice this week, because we're going Wednesday for the game of the week. That'll be Wednesday, 4 o'clock. Will be myself and Nick Mastropolito on the call. He's the normal Carol announcer, but we got him for Wednesday. And Saturday, Dollar Dog Day. Bonner, Malvern, Battle of the Friars. That's going to be a good one. It's going to be, I'd imagine, a good amount of people, and I could see a slugfest. Again, both teams not using their conference arms, but star-studded lineups. We got to be careful out in right center field with some of these lefties. Ryan Friel, Dorita, Brady Abate. We might be in trouble.
Yeah, that's going to be. We might have to bring our gloves out there. Yeah. Have to make a play to protect the dogs. It'll be.
Oh, I don't care if I get hit. We just can't let the grill.
Yeah, the merchandise cannot be damaged.
Sure. But all right, everybody, that's all we got for today. Another good week. Obviously last week we weren't able to get an episode in, but we'll be pretty much consistently every Sunday. I feel like Memorial Day is usually like when the playoffs are either winding down unless teams are going to states or whatever. So it'll be pretty much every Sunday throughout then. Ben, let's give everybody a quick Masters update as they're watching this.
We got Rory's up 2, and Scotty is putting for. Oh, we just missed it.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know what that was for.
Getting towards the end here, it looks like Rory's, I wouldn't say in control, but pretty close. So we'll see.
I don't think Rory's ever in control at the Masters.
Yeah, right.
That's
yeah.
But he's winning. Oh, and my TV just froze. That was convenient.
Right on cue. But all right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate everybody continuing to follow the content, the website. If you haven't yet, subscribe both on YouTube and also to our newsletter, both for free. Just trying to continue to put out as much content as we can. So everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.